All right, we're here.
Hey, Melissa. I thought I'd hop on with you and just chat about um, our Amare opportunity, the timing of where the company is, and how this is just such a unique and opportune time to get involved with the industry of mental wellness and what Amare has to offer. So I
Yeah,
thought you can share a little bit about
yeah.
you.
And I'm going to go through a few slides. I
Oh,
mean, I
awesome.
think fundamentally, people want to feel different on the products, right? The products really speak for themselves. So I think it's always great to have some kind of experience with them. But understanding where Amare is as a business is really a separate conversation. And so this conversation is, assuming you've already had a positive experience, right? What's next? How do we really think about this as a business, and not just, taking some pretty amazing gut brain supplementation?
Awesome.
Um, so I'm going to share screen.
Yeah, because you and I came through this opportunity, like really through our kids' success and our success on the products.
Mhm. Okay, wait, let's see. Hold on. You know how this goes,
Mhm.
how easy or not easy it is to do this. Oh, I think we're good. Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
I can. Do you want to go into presentation mode?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
How's that look?
Perfect.
Okay. Um, so just a few company highlights, then we'll touch on the market, and then we'll kind of see graphically where Amare fits in terms of its life cycle. I think the biggest thing for Amare is it's a category unto itself, right? It really is its own category. There are no other mental wellness companies. And there are no companies fully committed to the gut brain connection solely, right? There are some companies that are starting to come out with gut products and brain products, right? And that's going to happen. You're going to get kind of copycats in the arena, which is totally okay because that's educating the whole public about the gut brain axis. But there's no one completely devoted to the gut brain axis in the same way that Amare is.
Right.
Um, in terms of funding, this piece is really important, this one right here, because our owner, founder, CEO, Hiptran, is the single investor in the company. And why is that important? Most companies, most direct sales companies that are built, Rodan and Fields, Juice Plus, Arbonne, right, Isogenics, they have a certain amount of money to get a first product launched, but then they have to kind of through a board and a group, shareholders raise more money in order to get the next product and the next product. So what happens when you have a single investor is you don't have to ask permission, right? You can go ahead and fund products, patents, science for the long term. And you don't have to worry so much that, there's going to be this pull in funding and you don't get to do all the research that you want to do. Right. So HIP is fully committed to the next decade with Amare. He's had many offers to sell the company and he's not interested because it's going to be $1 billion company. So he's putting all of his eggs in this basket. And what that means is 5 to 10 years of product and patents in the pipeline. So whatever the Amare product suite is now, which is, fairly substantial and covers kids, adults, right? Kind of a full continuum of mental wellness and mental fitness, it's going to grow and grow and grow. And it already has with our newest product, Edge. But there's more and more and more in the pipeline. There's always research being done. And that's what you want, right? You don't want a company that's kind of stalled out where it is. In terms of revenue life cycle, it's fairly similar to what you would see in, say, Rodan and Fields or Isogenics in the early years. A little bit of revenue the first couple of years. Last year was our third full year of selling products. There was 21 million in revenue. And then this year, I don't know what our first quarter of 2021 was, but I think it was like exponentially higher
Right, because of Edge, right?
because of Edge. And so I think you're going to start to see, and I'll show you graphically, no longer linear growth, but we're moving into this more exponential phase.
Right.
And then really driven, right? There's a drive for the next decade to be $1 billion company. And so this is a little bit about the market of nutraceuticals. These numbers come from, there's a global trend wellness kind of organization that's been doing trends for about 50 years. And so that's where these numbers come from. So I didn't invent them, I promise. And we can actually show you the articles and the report that was released in March. But market size, projected market size for this year, nutraceuticals, mental wellness, brain boosting supplements, right? So this is like a huge market, and this is all of Amare. And then within the next 10 years, right, 700 billion to $1 trillion. If
Wow.
you think about that as a market, and we're the lead in that market, right? Everyone has a lag to get where we are, and we have the money to then innovate and keep ahead. That's a huge market.
We were definitely on the forefront, and we will remain there, right?
Yes. And then trends. There's in March, there were actually a couple articles. There was one in the New York Times, and then there was a great whole section in the Wall Street Journal entitled "The Future of Everything." And in these newspapers, they talked about what are the trends, what's the big thing, what is the science, what's going on, right? What's the future of everything? And it really is the microbiome, the gut-brain connection, polyphenols, right? The kind of colorful part of the plant that we've learned is really the food for our microbes. And then this whole category of mental well-being and mental fitness.
Right.
Um,
Melissa, on those
yeah.
polyphenols, I know the mastermind behind the Gut Brain Connection, Dr. Amare Mayer, is coming out with his second book. Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be on polyphenols.
So I think he changed it a little bit. It's a little bit on polyphenols. It was released yesterday called The Gut Immune Connection. And I only know because I pre-ordered a copy. Because that's how I roll. It was like enormously expensive in hardcover, but Amare Mayer, I love you. So it's called The Gut Immune Connection, and it does touch a lot on polyphenols.
Awesome.
But it's a lot about our immune system and how that is affecting how we feel,
right.
Especially in the brain and neuroinflammation.
I love that he's on the scientific board at Amare.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I call him the grandfather of the gut brain connection, but he doesn't know that because I don't call him that to his face. I don't really know him. So, and then let me just show you graphically where we are. So this heart has probably moved a little bit since I created the slide because of Edge. But any innovative company has this life cycle, right? It doesn't matter whether you're Apple or a direct sales company like Rodan and Fields, or whatever company, Uber, right, has this kind of growth cycle. And so we got in somewhere around here, right? And it's this slow progression, and part of that is because the people that we're talking to, the public, all of the terms we're using, the microbiome and the gut brain connection, this is all new, right? So you're kind of explaining not just a whole category, but all of this science. And so that takes a lot of words, And so what happens is when you have more articles, right, from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, other publications too,
news articles.
When that happens, you don't have to explain as much, right? And it snowballs because now people understand the science, they understand what's going on. You're not a crazy person. And so we start to hit this point, the critical mass, the tipping point. And this is where exponential growth happens.
Right.
And you want ideally to get in here, right? You're still
Before.
gonna do well if you get in here, and you're still gonna do well. And even if you're in stability and legacy, you're still gonna do well here too. You'll still make money, but your ability to capitalize on what could be like 10 times growth is just less once you hit, kind of this stability and
Right.
legacy phase.
Right. So I love like this, the startup is where, it could be a little risky joining a company that is just starting up and formulating and just kind of, like pre-launch, launch phase. And like I said, like Melissa said, we joined, around the 2-year mark. And but getting in right before what they call this hockey stick
Mhm.
that's where the exponential growth can happen.
Yeah, and it only happens once for
Only
every
happen once.
company. It only happens once. Um, so again, it doesn't mean you can't get into a company at this point. And some people like that because there's a lot of name recognition, right? You just say the name. Oop, I don't know what happened. Hold on. Wait,
You're good.
can you see it again?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh. But there's a lot of name recognition, but you know, you've lost this point. You've lost this ability.
Yeah. And
So
like how you say, like in this stability and legacy phase, there's little risk, but there's less reward.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So please ask us questions. Um, Understanding where things are, in terms of growth. And we're happy to have this conversation with you individually, and talk through it. Um,
Absolutely.
Thinking about this as an investment doesn't have to be the reason why you become a partner. It can be just purely to help people. But this is another piece to why Amare is a home run,
Right.
right? Right. Not only are the products really fundamentally different and unique and have revolutionized mental wellness, the company itself really is a beautiful investment.
Absolutely. And I also tell people that it's not a big decision, right? It's very little investment, with a lot of reward, both personally, um, physically, like these products have changed our ourselves, our kids, and professionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it's my passion.
Well,
So,
thank you, Colleen.
thanks for sharing, Melissa. I appreciate
Yeah.
your help.
Yeah. All right.